Disco dancer. Disco dancer. Disco dancer. Disco dancer. Disco dancer.
You were on the right track, you were on the right path. And black door in the forest isn't here to taunt us, cause it's going nowhere. You gotta move on, cause shadows in the dark are always coming towards you. Red eyes in the night, you put them out of sight. Don't be paralyzed, move on to Nirvana or Shangri-La or Valhalla. Covering the skyline, blocking out the sunlight, making new like midnight. White house on the right, it calls you to the light, put it out of sight. I need to try and see the forest from the trees. Don't be paralyzed, move on to Nirvana or Shangri-La or Valhalla. Ooh, cause if you stay in limbo, you'll decay. Yeah.
And welcome back, everybody, to Runeterra Academy. Today, we're going to be watching Crystal Cave Gaming go up against Shogun 2077 in the freshman class. I am your play-by-play for today, Arlan. I'm joined by Gigatron. Gigatron, how are you doing today, my friend?
Dude, I'm feeling great. Been in the hyperbolic chamber all week, training, getting my workout grind on. So I am sore as all hell, but I am great tonight. How you doing, man?
I respect that, dude. Getting swole in the gym. I need to get
Ryan.
back, man. It's been too
I
long. But
I gotta lose jowls, man.
yeah, I respect that 100%. But yes, we have Crystal Cave Gaming, like I said, going up against Shogun 2077. Both of them are currently 2-2 in terms of record. Break this one down for me.
Yeah, so 2-2. This means, hey, you know what? You get a win. It puts you at least a little bit better in the standings for playoffs. Again, you need to have top four go through. So, and a bunch of people are kind of tied right around there. So when you're looking at that, you know then you're gonna still have ties next week, and then like all these games pretty much here on out kind of matter. So you really want to have whichever team's gonna win tonight, whether it's Shogun or Cave doing it. But still, I mean, I really like the fact that again these are gonna be close games because both of the teams, like you said, they're even right now. They're performing pretty well, I'd say, in most of the teams, and yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one tonight.
Absolutely. I've had the pleasure of casting for Shogun 2077, I do believe, a few weeks ago. Not quite sure which league it was in, but they were looking very dangerous, very good. Haven't had the. I think we've seen Crystal Cave one time. I think maybe week 3 was it?
It
We
might have
definitely,
been.
yeah, we definitely did see these guys play. I believe it was against Goon Squad Gaming Iota. Yeah, it was against them, and they put on a show for us then. So I'm definitely eager to see both of these two teams that I've already seen before come up against each other. But with that, we will hop directly into the draft, and I do believe one squad they are losing their bans for phase 2.
Yeah, someone has a sub. Trying to remember who.
I'm trying to remember too as well. But with that, the first few bans will get underway, and it will be the Morgana from Crystal Cave Gaming 2077 opting to hover that Akali ban. Maybe start to look to ban towards those super strong flex picks, the Graves, the Gwyn, the Akali, of course. Vygar, of course, still as well, super strong. Ari still up. Just looking at a lot of different strong picks in the current meta. What do you expect us to see? First pick, blue side.
Who? I mean, here's the other thing too. If you got someone that knows Zeri very well right now, like Zeri is just I feel like a highly contested pick of like, okay, if you're not blue side, you ban it, because if you don't, like someone just pops off with it. And I saw that Ari hover there, but they're gonna go with a window instead. Yeah, I would like either an ADC or a jungle pick going off right away, but we're seeing Hakarim and Trundle being banned out too, and Diana. Oh my god, no junglers today. Oh.
No junglers today, but even as you said that, J4, the first one to get picked up. I absolutely love the J4. I think he's, I won't say nigh unbeatable, but I think he has very few losing matchups. Maybe only the Zinzao, maybe only the Hecarim. Trundle, of course, does decent into him, but with most of those getting banned away, they only have this Zinzao to respond to that. But of course, there's still some other picks such as the Poppy that can come through as well. But for 2077, they say we need our support first, and they grab Leona Lee Sin. Interesting combo. A lot of playmaking potential between the two of them.
Yeah, I like that combo very much so because it's a very all-in dive. You can lock people up pretty quick and easy. You have the style of going in and just kicking someone into the enemy team, try to show off your ward hopping skills as well as just just being around the map a lot more. So, but this is where we get a good counter back of Braum and Jhin.
Braum and Jhin, not too bad. It's a little bit anti-synergistic. The Jhin, he takes his real sweet time, autoing 4 times, and Braum passive needs at least 3 of those. to be on one target. He can stack it up himself a little bit, but it's going to be in conjunction with his team. So like I said, a little bit anti-synergistic, but they can definitely work together. You know, the shield standing in front of the sniper, long range with, you know, that close range aggressiveness with Lucian, and I think against the Lucian, I think it can definitely work out for them. And I think it is 2077 who lost a ban or 2 bans on their side. So
they lost them.
Yeah, so they won't be banning anything in phase 2 here.
Yeah, and here's the thing too that I look at with the Jhin and the Braum there. Yes, Jhin attacks a little bit slower, but depending on Braum, on how healthy he is, he could just tap them twice and then have Jhin do the 2 autos, then you stun them, then you Deadly Flourish, so you're locked down there, and then hopefully by then 4-shot comes out and you just trade it out, a lot of damage, get that bouncing grenade going too, and hopefully, again, it's a really good high burst that should work out in the end, especially if they get it onto Lucian. It's just, how is the Leona going to counteract? Because, hey, if she can Zenith Blade onto Jhin and stun him, then it negates anything that's going to happen, and it'd be really interesting to see what and how Leona plays it out.
Absolutely, I agree. Crystal Cave opting to take away the Lilia, potentially scared of the Lily going in topside, and I'm not gonna lie, I still see a few Lee Sins going into solo lanes from time to time. I think it is still a relatively viable option. Of course, no longer as strong as it used to be back in its heyday, but it is not the worst thing in the world. It's no Teemo, it's no Nasus, it's no Heimerdinger top, so it can definitely work out. But you have to imagine with the Mordekaiser ban, they were much more worried about the Lilia top, about the Mordekaiser top coming out. So 2077 looking to blind pick something. It will be the blind pick Syndra, not a bad blind pick at all.
Syndra, I think, is really good because you have good burst, high range, and you have a kit that lets you push someone back or stun them. So I think that's really good from that standpoint. You can steal buffs away from people. You can throw crabs, you know, the scuttles at people too. So I think that's, again, just a really good kit around her that can work well with their team comp that they've been putting so far. But this is where it gets spicy. Get this, I was gonna say hover, but it's a lock-in at this point. Ball on Jarvan, especially with Cataclysm, means like game over. Like, you just can't get out, even if you try. Like, she pulls you back in, and then now you can have Big Daddy Braum just kind of come at you hard, and you know, it's just one of those things that you'll just be stun locked forever. And yeah, there's that too.
They have the Wombo combo team comp coming out here from Crystal Cave. A Jhin to shoot over the top, like you said, Orianna, J4, they love being together. Braum over the top as well, and then Ornn to start it all off. And on the opposite side, they have a lot of playmaking potential, but a lot of their champions rely more on those individual outplays, right? The Leona really wants to land that ult. Lee Sin is very, has a lot of, you know, unique movements to him, but Lucian as well. Syndra, it really relies on the skill of them disengaging Crystal Cave here, and with that, it's going to be the Alawi top getting locked into an Ornn, so it's really going to be a 4v5 in these team fights if they do break out later into this game.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be really good is like Alawi trying to come to team fights will be really good. She has, again, those immense amount of tentacles that can come out just from passive and from her ultimate too, so because of that, I think she can provide a lot of burst for them. So like, it's like ideally like you never want to Cataclysm her because she gets an easy E off on you, and then now you have the spectral version of yourself that she can just smack down and then cause double damage to you when she's throwing tentacles as well. So I think it's just really good kind of counter to the aspect of the Jarvan than necessarily the Ornn. Ornn, yeah, he's really slow, so it can hit on him a little bit easier. But I think that's going to be okay for him because, again, he's Mage Tank Assassin, stains very well, can do a lot of damage, so hopefully he can trade back in that process.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm just looking at these team comps and I'm like, one is just easy to execute, and that's one thing, I've been, talking a lot with my collegiate coach. Just one thing that we talk about is Drafts Kingdom versus, the one that's on paper inferior, but much easier to execute, right? And Crystal Caves I don't even think it's really inferior. I think it answers a lot of what Shogun wants to do. I think it's a really good draft in that sense. But if it was inferior, if there was one thing that was maybe wonky that gave Shogun an entrance, on paper, Crystal Caves is so much easier to execute. Even if Orm loses top, Alawi, I don't think, can get enough of an advantage against him to really offset the team fight strength of Crystal Cave. I don't even think the Syndra can get much of an advantage individually into the Orianna if every other lane goes even, right? So it really requires this Lee Sin to get all over the map and get multiple lanes advantages, because if they just focus on one lane, it won't be enough of a boost to, push them across the finish line by the time the team fighting comp of Crystal Cave gets online.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, okay, say you bully out Ornn, where he doesn't get his Ornn items on himself and the rest of his team. Okay, that's fine. How long can you keep that going is part of the problem. Where I think the Syndra can last a very long time. The Lee Sin's very early in the mid game. Starts falling off a little bit later, but you still have like the CC lockdown from Leona and him that can really help out. And Lucian's only just going to get better if you really think about it, just because the more crit he gets, the more shots he's going to put out. So I look at that's where they're going to probably rely into him and Syndra that little bit more. Where the only problem is you have a Brahma on the other side who can block all those shots. You have Jarvan who can just kind of just collapse on you and be like, hi, and burst you down. You have Orianna who can, again, follow up with them. Ornn, he can hit Cataclysm and it does his knockup with his charge. So you gotta find like that sweet spot of like not being on the side of where Ornn can hit you and just really punish you at that aspect. So I think that's where it's really gonna rely on, do you, like you said, do you win early with this comp and like substantially? Because I mean that's what's gonna have to be. You're gonna have to win substantially, because the moment it gets to like 11, a lot of them start coming online. Even more so, like Orianna's gonna do more. Jhin by then will have a couple items, so he's doing more damage. You have Braum, who again can just stick on people, be a little bit tankier. And then you have Ornn, who is just like, I'm waiting for 13, baby. Like, I'm waiting.
Oh, wait.
Like,
yeah, just plays to look out for here. I think CBSL really has to pull more than his own fair share of weight here, because realistically, I don't think, even if Syndra really plays super well this game, I just don't think how does she get out of J4 Cataclysm without Flash? How does she get out of Orianna ult without Flash, right? Like, the second she doesn't have Flash in a team fight, she's always going to be dead first, realistically, right? No one can really peel for her on this team. It's really just more of a dive comp and all into Lee Sin, Leona. So it's really about how well CBSL can outplay them if he takes Gale Force Lucian with his dashes, with his spacing, with his mobility, and his team fight prowess.
I agree with that. Like, if he could balance his pacing very well, then yeah, he could definitely do that. The other thing is the only thing that could really stop them in the Cataclysm would be the Solar Flare. But then now you're burning an ult, and then same thing. Like, even if he goes in and kicks, like for Lee Sin, again you're burning another ult. So is it really worthwhile in that aspect just to save one person potentially, or is it better just to sacrifice the person so then you could go focus on who you need to damage out?
Absolutely. Those are the questions that Shogun 2077 will have to ask themselves as we get into Crystal Cave Gaming versus Shogun 77. Again, why am I signing out? I don't know what I'm saying. We're going to hop to a quick break here. Yeah.
It's been a long day, man.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Runeterra Academy freshman class. I am again your host, well, play-by-play for this evening, Arlan, joined again by Gigatron. Now, as we get into this game, as we get into this 5-point, do you notice anything interesting about runes or setups here?
We have. I guess the electrocute's kind of interesting on Syndra, but that's kind of standard. I feel like you have. I feel like everything's pretty normal. All right, what's standing out to you?
Well, notice that you pointed it out. It is the electrocute for me. I didn't even notice that Syndra took that one. I'm still a firm believer in the blue tree Syndra. You know, usually summon Airy or Phase Rush. I believe those are her. That's her best tree by far. She just loves everything in it, and she just loves to use whatever rune that she is opting to use. Either it's the poke style or it's the Phase Rush get out of jail free card. The electrocute, not quite so certain about it. It does a lot of damage, but now you're even more of a sitting duck, right? You don't even have the phase rush to get out of those sticky situations.
Yeah, exactly. Like now you can't get out of it, and it's like maybe that little bit of extra movement speed helps you avoid that cataclysm or avoid the shockwave coming in at you. So yeah, that it's a little interesting with that. So, but again, it's a more aggressive damage roll when you're doing that with the electrocute. So I guess it's okay. It just takes a lot longer to proc it.
Yeah, it's a lot more scary. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more scary. But you know, if you can get it off, like you're basically a walking time bomb now, right? Like if you get that explosion off, explosion of damage off, you definitely just super dangerous for them to deal with. But other than that, nothing else that stands out. Maybe the Dark Harvest on Jin, but again, that can definitely work. Looking to blow people up when they get to those low HP levels, and Life is flexing Ornn here just doing so much damage to the Illaoi as level 2 is reached first in the bot lane. CBXL dashes forward, forcing the flash out from King Cross. But that look at Tamari going way too deep. The heal comes out, the ignite comes out, and Braum is ticking so very low, but nothing happens at the end of the day. They're able to walk it out, and that is a super valuable trade from the side of Shogun 2077.
It's a really good trade because you get a flash out of Braum, you get a heal out of Baller, and all you have to do is you expended Ignite from Tamir. So I think that's just really beneficial to them, even though she was getting kind of peppered a little bit by Jhin, like through the poke in the lane. But yeah, I mean, look at her. She's already back to almost half health. And yeah, I mean, Braum now has no potions.
Yeah, that's super huge. As the stun lands on to Lemon Sap, but look who is here. Tafiki is right here. Lands the Q. The flash is out from the Orianna, but look how low Tafiki's getting. And now Brandon needs help is right there. He's ready to help his mid laner, and that's going to be so much damage going down the Crockpot. He flashes away, but he doesn't have the movement speed to get out of there. And that's going to be first blood over to the J4, and he gets the second one with a nice Q to pick up the Lee Sin. The flash forced out from Tafiki, and that is honestly a worst case scenario for the early game team.
Yeah, it's a big worst case scenario because you had a really good engage. I'll say that. You had a good ward hop there. You got onto him. You burned a flash. The problem is you had Brandon there countering back, wanting to go in. And you had Rockbot, unfortunately, was just at half health. If he wasn't at half health, say he was more healthier, then could have been a whole different fight, I feel like. Because at that point, then do you decide really going in onto him, or you go on to Tafiki there at that point? And yeah, if you went on Tafiki, I feel like you could have gotten at least one, but still, oh my, look at this.
So that's the advantage of Illaoi, such a dominant lane champion, right? Once she gets those tentacles set up, like, and she hits those E's, like, how can you even deal with her? But you're right, if, you know, Crockbot had a little bit more HP there, I definitely don't think it would have been a double kill, maybe a 1-for-1. But at the end of the day, look how low Tamari gets. That's one more auto. If that Braum pass it had just procced, I think that would have been a kill. He just walks up and ignites her. Green Grouse, I don't think he gets you that kill. She takes dangerously low though. Maybe just a little bit more damage and she would have been dead.
Yeah, if he could have gotten like an auto or just something on her besides that, then yes. I think at that point, if like Jhin had like a really good opportunity to flash, I mean, yeah, it would have been really good in that case. But I know that yeah, there's always some issues sometimes of just trying to figure out what's the heads up play. Like, is it that? Is it not? Remembering, does she have any pots or anything? I mean, I know right now she just bought the refillable, but yeah, I mean, I think it was at least smart. Unfortunate that it doesn't kill her, but I know.
Absolutely.
Is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. The refillable is picked up by the Leona. Very nice. I like that one a lot. And boots as well. So that means this Leona doesn't really want to stay in lane too much with CBXL, or maybe they want to use those boots to chase down kills. I'm not quite certain you need those in this lane. So more than likely this Leona wants to roam. But talking about items and talking about pickups, look who bought Iron Spike Whip. That is going to be the J4 with a huge item advantage over the Lee Sin, right? That's so much extra damage that he has available to him, and he can definitely utilize that in any ganks that he finds opportunity for. Right now, it's just been more of a counter gank for this J4, but if he finds an opportunity to go in once he hits that level 6, it's going to be huge. Q goes wide, and CBXL is forced to flash. Not quite certain you had to flash that one there, pal, but maybe it's better just to play it safe rather than risk losing your all your HP.
Yeah, because think of it this way. So if the Flourish lands, he's already got one hit on him from Braum passive. So then Braum could go up, hit another one. Jhin, again, does 2 more hits. And then I believe the third one there was going to be 4 shot. So then he just takes an immense amount of damage. And then even if he uses the grenade, it's just 1, but still.
Yeah, look at that. Tafiki taking a super aggressive posturing, but look who's there to match it again. The J4 as stun lands in the mid lane, but nothing comes of it. But look at who's also there to match Tafiki's little bit of a lane gank. But both junglers just waiting, bot side hovering, realizing that there's nothing really to work for. As CBXL gets poked down a little bit, dashes out. King Kraus is there though, but he doesn't get the flag and drag. Just throws out a raw Q there, just looking for a little bit of poke on Tamari, and that nothing else at the end of the day. Both sides just wanting to help their bot laners push this in. You have to imagine, because look how much of it, it's just in a stalemate at this point. Both bot laners really want to get this working, and it will be Brandon who pulls the trigger first. Tamari goes in on him, and it's going to be Tafiki landing the Q, but look at it. Oh, so much damage is already done. King Kraus one more, and it's going to be Tamari flashing for the kill, and it's a misplay coming up from the side of Crystal Cave Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, you try to figure out where everyone is, trying to make your own plays. Unfortunately, you step up to the point of not knowing that Tafiki's there in the brush, and when you lose out on there, yeah, it's just a little unfortunate. Plus, again, these three do a lot more damage to that bot lane compared to Crystal Caves, so it's really just beneficial for them anytime they can take a fight to do it early on.
Look at them, they're contesting this Drake. You know, Tamari's getting so dangerous. The last shockwave pulls him in. Lemon Sack gets that kill, but do they keep going? Ignite going down on the CBXL. King Kraus very much loves to raw Ignite people, but unfortunately nothing comes of that Ignite there. And yes, that's going to be the first Drake, and an early Ocean Drake, I must say. Very lovely Drake to have. Early Ocean going over to the side of 2077. Very, very nice. But yeah, now that Lemon Sap has 2 assists, 1 kill, and a very substantial CS lead over his opponent, nearly 10 CS a minute, just off by 10 or so. He's very well positioned to kind of, what's the word, carry this game. Lemon Sap is here.
Lemon's just showing again why Orianna is a really good pick, especially into Orianna, showing that again you could have really good range. You have the phase rush, so you can escape that little bit more. So if you are going to have like a minion or something thrown at you, you're able to get away from that slow that little bit easier. So that's where it's really kind of beneficial from that aspect. And then you have again ball distance, so this way distance can get you that a little bit better with the move speed. So I think that's kind of what's really helping out for him. Plus, again, just a really good shockwave on a Tamir there. So yeah, even though you lose the Drake, you're able to get this kill still on a support. So again, just kind of speeds you up that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been nice if Brandon got a little love with it too, but unfortunately not going to be the case.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I want to highlight is just how good Drakes are on the team that they just, you know, the team that doesn't scale, right? We've already decided, you know, realistically, it is going to be the side of, you know, Crystal Cave Gaming that outscales. And the team that doesn't quite outscale as much, it's an imperative of them to get the Drake just to keep the soul off of the team that scales for as long as possible. If they can get 1, 2, 3 Drakes, or even the soul, that will be huge for the team that doesn't scale, because there's so many extra stats that they otherwise wouldn't have access to. They actually wouldn't, you know, be privy to, and it'd be so much worse for them, right? And the enemy, of course, gets their Drake stacking earlier. So just by delaying this 1 Drake for 5 minutes, you buy yourself 5 minutes of time and get yourself, you know, several hundred value worth of gold. So very lovely play. I love it every single time it comes out. And again, we just watched so much Alawi trading from such a safe range. She just pulls your spirit back and beats you down.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of like really a solo queue matchup of just trying to understand how she works and how you need to manage your wave minions. Like, this is something that as a top laner that I play Alawi, I play the Ornn, I've played Ornn into Alawi, and I really know the matchup kind of well. I think it's just, again, you really have to find those sweet spots of not getting hit and knowing her range with it. Because if you know, like, oh hey, like here I'm gonna get hit, but if I stay back that little bit more, I still get XP, but I'm not losing out of getting that extra damage done to me as well. So
look at that, Brandon getting cornered a little bit, but just a quick flag and drag away, and Tafiki can no longer follow up. But yeah, I absolutely I love Alawi. I think she's a lot better in the current meta than people give her credit for. I think she's great. However, and I think she has a lot of value as the R5. You know, she's a really just strong champion, especially if someone can play her. However, you know, in this scenario, I think, you know, her value is a little bit lacking, because realistically, who you know, she likes teams that group up around her a lot, right? She likes teams with a lot of melees who like to group in a small area, you know, a Kindred perhaps. And it's just going to be King Cross the ult to clear the wave a little bit. But back to my original point, she just likes teams that group up around her. But realistically, on this team, who's really going to be grouping in that Cataclysm besides Brandon? Everyone else is kind of outside of it, hitting people inside of it or throwing ultimates across it. So not too much work Tafiki is going to find in team fights, and instead just has to look for those lane outplays, rather.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, usually you try to take her. I feel like, yes, you can take her for more of the team fight, but at this point, I'm assuming this is more of a try to be lane dominance, bully you to the point of, okay, I'm gonna make you back a lot, so this way you get punished, kind of a thing, for staying here sometimes. And doesn't always go that way, but yeah, if you're able just to just get that extra spirit out, get the damage onto it, create more tentacles, make Ziphus here just take a fight he shouldn't be taking. Like me, I would abuse the fact that, like, all right, you're this low, I don't even need to do that. I mean, I really want you to come try to hit me on your obelisk, and then I just ult, and then you're dead. Like, you're dead. But easy, because I ult you, I break your spirit, and then I just smack down like crazy, and it's one of those things that could damage him that little bit more. But it's where, again, there's the respect of, like, okay, yeah, I know not to do that. But
look at
both
that.
junglers are here.
Walks right there into the ward. They know exactly where he is. He goes in for the flag and drag anyway. That's going to be the flash, but he misses the kick. And it is going to be Tamarian going on to Brandon. And look at that. He gets so dangerous. Like the key is dead here. And yes, he is. CBXL picks up one. Ults. Goes across top baller. Managed to get out. And that's just going to be the exhaust burn from CBXL. Tafiki getting so dangerous to low. But look, Ku has arrived as Crockpot lands a stun. And that's going to be flashes in onto the Jhin. And maybe even the dive comes out. King Cross has to run for the hills here. And that's going to be Crockpot flashing in, ulting, picking up their first kill of the game. And that is going to be a very nice play coming across from the side of Shogun 2077.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really good. Again, this is where Lee still wins pretty early on, can pretty much pressure out a lot of teams. And even if you miss necessarily the kick, you get the damage onto someone. It's better than nothing. Because you still have Solar Flare that could kind of follow up, do the lockdown there like we saw. You still had the culling go out, and yeah, it's really beneficial from that standpoint. I know it seems like some of the players are having some issues here, but yeah, it's one of those things that I mean, as I'm watching the game, it's really good because you had the good run there from Crockpot. Crockpot was able to again kind of get a little bit used to the electrocute there, able to proc it. And we saw there was a lot of bursts that went into top baller there. And we thought maybe, hey, you know what? You could maybe get away, maybe feel alive for a little bit. But unfortunately, his flash was still down at that point. And you really don't have that much support anymore than Brandon. And Brandon gets bursted pretty quickly. I mean, the only really healthy thing that he has is the Kindle Gem right now, which of course he's going for that Gore Drinker. But yeah, it's just really hurting him that a little bit because he's not at quite that taking this to deal with the team.
Yeah, not yet. He is definitely a first item spiking champion. But one thing I do want to highlight just a little bit is the Ornn. You know, the Ornn versus Ally matchup. And you were talking a little bit about it, about how the Ally just wants to really force out if it was any other top laner, how she just wants to force them out of lane, keep them out of the game essentially by forcing them to take repeated backs over and over and over and over, even though that may not be the best, but they have to always worry about the dive, always worry about the spirits beating them up under the turret. And, you know, at the end of the day, it is an Ornn though. He can take that kind of beating. He's a very unique champion in that he can just build the item under his turret even while he's taking the beating and, you know, get some sort of recompense, get some HP back that way, get some mana back that way, and he can take that beating just a little bit. But we finally see him caving under the pressure, using his teleport to get back to lane, and Tafiki's dad not opting to use theirs. Instead, they have a whole Divine Sunderer just walking back to lane quite simply. And I like the Divine Sunder pickup here. If you go Divine Sunder into Hullbreaker, maybe you will be looking at a very nice split pushing threat, a very huge threat that more than one person has to answer for, and who realistically can answer it on the side of Crystal Cave Gaming when they need all their members to deal to do what they want to do as a split, a team fight team.
Right. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it relies on the fact of like someone else besides Brandon should be helping out bot lane. Like Lemon should be going down potentially and just being like, hey, you know what? We're gonna rush and get a Cataclysm, get the Shockwave out, and then set up for King Cross here to basically use Glacial Fissure into Curtain Call. So hopefully that could get like layered out to the point of like, hey, you know what? You try to come in on me. I have the knock up here from Glacial Fissure. I can just pepper you down with my passive attacks as Brum, and then hopefully you could just set up for, like you talked about earlier, just like that protective shield that can block out things and, get the current call going. But you're going to see Drake number 2 is started up by Shogun 27, and not really a contest here.
You can't contest it when your Shogun is on the opposite side of the map, and that will be a very nice, very easy pickup for Shogun 27. Very nice. They set up their wards correctly, they set up their vision correctly, and they played around the objective beatably. Nothing to complain about for them. Zyphus going in a little bit for the trade here against Tafiki's dad, and Ornn does a lot of damage even into a Divine Sunder Alalia, and it gives him a little bit of damage back, but look how much healing can come out from Tafiki's dad even when you're not fighting them back. They have the spirit, which counts as a champion essentially, so all the item effects just go through, right? Yeah, now just looking in the mid lane, taking stock of where we are in terms of gold, in terms of items. Look at that, a huge CS lead in the mid lane for Lemon Sap, absolutely smashing this matchup versus Crockpot in terms of CS as well, the highest in the game, and I fully expect them to do something here as the stun lands onto him. Tafiki's dad just kicks him back, but he misses the Q, but it doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, the shockwave was good, but it wasn't enough. Tafiki's dad picks up that kill with the Gore Drinker. Or sorry, Tafiki, not Tafiki's dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 names are very similar. Yeah, it gets very confusing.
It happens.
Well, but even that, Tafiki just played it very well. I mean, you got around her to the point of you had a good flank. She overextended herself that little bit there. Even though Shockwave does land onto one, unfortunately, you just have Unleashed Power, which threw out, I think, five orbs there? 5 balls? Yeah. So,
about 5, but even as we talk, top baller is forced to flash out. Tamari landed the ultimate. It was good, but it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. That's why you take Braum into Lucian. King Kraus getting so dangerously low. CBXL flashes in there. And nope, the 4th shot is not good. Tamari blocks it for him. He has the Kraken Slayer, and that's a very interesting pickup, but he goes in, just not enough damage. And even as we were singing his praises, he goes in for a little bit of a rough play right there, and top baller comes out relatively even with that.
Yeah, I'm thinking he thinks that Tamir was going to try and help him, but the problem is if Tamir helps, you have the grenade that would bounce potentially onto him. So now you're getting damage onto 2 different people. Plus, you saw that Jin was at 3 out of the 4 shots. So he knows, hey, you know what? I could get the 2 burst out, get the grenade going, get lock them down as much as possible, and yeah, it's just really beneficial to top baller there. And Excel just kind of needed to realize, hey, you know what? We got what we needed. Let's get out.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to highlight, CBXL did have the exhaust, so maybe he was trying to, maybe he was spam clicking that to try to use against top baller there, but at the end of the day, it didn't come through. Brandon needs help. Does have the Rift Herald, opts to drop it mid, just trying to get some damage onto the turret since the plates have expired. And even as it hits, 4 people respond to it, so nothing else really comes of it. Top baller, the only one down bot side, just farming it up, getting some gold back into his pockets. And Slim and Sap, even without singular death, still the highest CS in the game, still really putting the hurt on the Crockpot here. First tower has gone down in the top lane. The stun just barely goes wide. If that hit, that potentially is a kill with a solar flare follow-up.
Yeah, and that's where I think, again, this team works really well. Oh.
Doesn't have flash on top of all. That's going to be a flash kick into the wall. Gore Drinker, Gale Force does come out, but he has a heal though. Tafiki barely dodging the root under turret, but look at that. CBXL guns him down. And now the chase begins. Doesn't come out. That's going to be Brandon going in with the ultimate, but he dashes back into Fiki. No, you can't be doing that. He has his own Gale Force to try and keep him alive, but he doesn't have the kick to disengage. That's going to be a huge shutdown for Brandon. And Tamara is forced to flash out. They keep going for it. The Flag of Jack just barely misses. And that is a huge amount of gold getting directly pumped into the veins of Brandon Needs Help.
Yeah, and this is where I think it was a great idea of like, hey, you know what? I'm going to set myself down here. We're going to try and do a lot of damage to Top Baller. And I'm just going to have the simple, easy follow-up of culling coming out from CBXL. And it worked out well. The problem, though, is just you have this team comp that, again, between King Cross and Brandon is just able to still provide a lot of damage. And when you had Tafiki still low, CBXL was like the same thing again, under that half health, then yeah, Cataclysm was going to do a lot of damage to both of them. And he just kind of overcommitted that a little bit more on Tafiki. So I think he just needs to learn, like, hey, just, again, kind of like CBXL earlier, just kind of know when to call it quits, get the kill, and get out, kind of a thing. But XK looked like it was going to get activated there.
Yeah, maybe it was just a misclick, but even as we talk, the Drake has spawned the first Drake of the Soul. Both teams looking to contest it. You have to imagine Zyphus and Tafiki's dad, however, don't really care. They're both top laners. They're both in their own world, which is laning against each other. Zyphus trying to keep Tafiki away from the turret. Tafiki trying to hit the turret. And either way, it's not happening for either side, as it looks like Brandon Needs Help and squad will be the first to start up the Drake. Everyone else on the side of Shogun 27 looking to respond here. Top Baller doesn't have any ammunition, and now look at Tafiki here. Doesn't get going for the steal, and he gets slowed up. Barely dodges the stun, but the Gale Force goes in for Top Baller. It's a very risky move, especially when you don't have flash. They have to realize he doesn't have flash. They're looking for the stun on the Lemon Sap. Tamari walks up, doesn't get the stun, throws out the ultimate. Look at the ball. Look at the ball. Where does it go? The Shockwave haven't cut it out, but look how so much damage on the Crockpot. He's so close to dying, and Tafiki's dad teleports in, gets the ultimate. So much is being done on both sides of the fight, but it is going to be Shogun 27 cleaning it up very nicely. Lemon Sap the only one to get out there. Tafiki's dad and Tafiki chasing after the poor Orianna.
Yeah, and this is where I feel like they can realize, hey, you know what? It's okay to give up a Drake because of the fact that we're already up to, we have a lot of gold in our pockets. We've already taken down one turret. We're going to be taking on another. They're going to be taking on another turret at this point. And they're getting kills even at the dragon fight. So it's really kind of punishing still to Crystal Cave here, and if they need to kind of check themselves a little bit of like, okay, was this really worth it in the long run of denying the potential soul point, and what did we lose in the process? Like, you lost a turret, but you got a Drake, but you lost 3 people. So they gotta make a decision about some of that soon.
Yeah, King Cross poking a little bit onto Tafiki's dad here, but you are absolutely right. It's 2 items for the Lucian here off of all those, kills that he got in that fight. And one thing I just want to highlight was how incredibly split the fight was. It wasn't a concentrated turn from the side of Crystal Cave, right? Like, when they want to fight these team fights, they're incredibly simple, but you have to have this set up first, and that's going to be Crockpot looking for the solo bolo. Tosses a Q, hits the W, and that is a very easy kill on a Top Baller, even with the flash and Gale Force wasted. You have to imagine that has to hurt.
And that solo dub to Baller here, I mean, it's really good because you still use Unleash Power, but you're able to kind of shut down the ADC from trying to get more CS. So now they stay even to slightly more ahead going on to CBXL here. And yeah, I mean, it's really punishing to the Jhin because even though it's a interesting bot lane, he's just not quite up to par, especially with dealing with the earliness of the Lucian here.
Absolutely. And one thing I just want to highlight, a little bit, how well Shogun 27-7 are playing around their team comp. Like we've been saying over and over, it's not quite as strong in the later stages of the game. It's a lot harder to execute, but they're executing it very well. I won't say flawlessly because there have been a few times where things have gone a little bit awry, but right now they are playing it very well to the best of their abilities, and they're quite honestly just dragging Crystal Cave around the map, dancing to their tempo, dancing to their tune, and they're making it look a little bit easy.
Yeah, I won't go that far. They didn't say that it's easy. I think they're just playing everything the way that they need to. And sometimes it's all about, like what we talked about earlier, is execution. Even though this comp here coming out from Crystal Cave is a clean, easy, point-and-click teamfight comp, you're still getting outplayed sometimes by a comp that, again, look at that. Just look at that burst. I mean, that's just one hit and you're half health.
And with Tafiki in the side, you have to be very careful that Lee Sin coming in for a quick little assassination kick. It's a rough one. It's definitely a rough one to be top baller here when you're so dangerously under leveled against your opponent, and really the only member who's kind of beating their opponent directly is going to be Lemon Sap into Crockbot, right? Like Lemon Sap is just absolutely smashing them in terms of CS. But in terms of value to the team, you know, Crockbot has had more solo kills, you know, more, just more being around the team. You know, they have just more kill participation in general. So it's going to be Lemon Sap and Zyphus going in for Tafiki's dad here. But look at the healing so very much, and they don't have any anti-heal just yet. And it is going to be King Kraus picking up that 600 gold shutdown. Very nice for the Braum. And that will be them shutting him down. But look at what they're giving up. They lost so much vision on the bottom side of the map, and especially with the Drake spawning in 14 seconds. Is it worth it?
Yeah, I think the problem is yes and no. Yes, because you're spreading gold across the team instead of just kind of piling it into Lemon. But
It's going to be King Frost walking in there. They know they're there, but it's a little bit blind. That's going to be the pushback from the Syndra, but a beautiful kick from Lemon Sap. He's forced to flash out. Brandon needs help, goes deep into the team. They don't have the Oriana Shockwave. Zyphus has teleported down, and it's going to be CBFL flashing out. And that's going to be Tafiki realizing that they have to get out of here quickly. Tamari goes in, but look at the teleport in the back line. They have a little bit of time left, and that's going to be Tafiki getting it such a big heal. Top bowler has one shot left, uses the Gale Force to get away, and it's going to be Tafiki's dad turning the fight completely. Crockpot flashing in, throws the Q, not even the W. At the end of the day, he's going to drop, but it is going to be Tamari and Tafiki's dad picking everything up. Tafiki taking the Drake at the end of the day. A very clean fight from Shogun 2077.
And this is where, again, that Lee Sin performs very well. You have the Gordrakka where you can just sustain so much from it. He has the Sterex where, in the case he does get popped pretty low, he has that extra shield to keep him alive. And yeah, it's just really punishing in this aspect because they knew they were there. It's just the problem is Tamir and CB and Tafiki just do a lot of damage, a lot of CC, and can really bully out someone to the point of like, hey, one gets popped. Now you have to make a decision: do you stay there or not? You try to run away, and then you have the Crockbot already there who can just kind of just slow you down, make you really hate the punishment of going against them. And yeah, it's just really crazy. Tamir
found a pick here. Tamir, no flash, only has a solar flare, but no follow up from the side of Brandon, and top baller opting to walk away there, realizing it may have been a dangerous play. But yeah, look how aggressive they're posturing towards this top side. They really want to start this Baron, and it's going to be Crockpot with a very nice steal, a very nice stun. Brandon needs help, and it's going to be a beautiful stun from Tabari, but a beautiful buffer on this flag and drag. And look at that, they're trying to survive, and at the end of the day, it's going to be Tafiki picking up that kill. Zyphus flashing out and using the headbutt to get a little bit of extra distance, and they're going to be re-engaging this a little bit, throwing down the ultimate, throwing down the force shot. But even with the call of the Forge God, nothing comes to the side of Crystal Cave Gaming, and Shogun 2077 pick up a relatively easy kill. You know, both sides had their outplays, but you can honestly start this Baron with no consequence.
Yeah, I mean, no consequence if they really want to. I mean, it looks like one's gonna. Oh no, I was gonna say they're gonna recall, but not gonna be the case here. But yeah, they could just reset. They could just delay anyone doing anything of like trying to go down to that bot site because Alawi's just trying to push in. I think that's really kind of beneficial for them. But yeah, it's really crazy for Shogun right now. They're just doing so well.
Oh man, CVXL going in solo. forcing out the Gale Force from top baller. And, you know, just talking about items a little bit real quickly. No anti-heal on the side, well, besides King Cross's Ignite, no anti-heal on the side of Crystal Cave Gaming. And when you're facing so many champions that heal either innately or through their items, you're facing a real problem here. CBXL more than likely has the bloodline. Looking at Tafiki, it's Lee Sin, right? He has healing in his kit, and so does Tafiki's dad. Both of those champions really do find issue with the amount of, you know, if you have anti-heal on it. So with no grievous wounds at all besides the Ignite, it's looking, you know, a rough space here for the side of Crystal Cave Gaming. And, you know, on the other side, they don't need anti-heal because they're doing so well. Everyone has 2 items, getting 3 items here. I do believe CBXL and Crockpot are the closest to those 3 items. 3 items already reached for Tafiki's dad. I'm not quite sure what he's opting for 4th item, but when you're this far ahead of the Ornn, do you really need a 4th item?
Distance is what I'm assuming he's going to go for. Just because of the fact that, again, it's a really good, stupid melee item right now.
It's pretty stupid, yeah.
It's just, it does so much for them. And again, it's where that healing aspect could come into the play if they get some anti-heal. It'll really benefit them. I think that's what maybe Orianna is going to opt for next, potentially. We'll eventually see from Ornn the Bramble Vest coming out at some point. And I don't think we're going to see much from Jhin, but again, if you could get it onto at least a couple of them, I think that will really benefit them in that aspect. But ooh.
Yeah, Lemon Sap is in no true danger. Tafiki's dad has no real CC to follow up on it. Only a slow, only a little bit of damage, and with the phase rush, Orianna can quite easily and quite effectively dodge away from it. But yeah, you were talking about items that they could potentially look for, and I think, you know, Orianna is in a very interesting conundrum as there's the plays making onto Tafiki's dad here. It's going to be the call to Forge Cross. It goes wide though, but King's Krause's ultimate is good. It lands directly on Tafiki's dad. So much damage. The Ignite comes through, but look at the healing. It still doesn't matter anyway. And it is going to be the shutdown going over to top baller, but look at what they're doing on the other side of the map. They're trading the Baron here. Very nice play here coming out from CBXL and squad, and I don't think Shogun 27 has to worry about the contest, especially with the Drake spawning in 30 seconds. Maybe they just trade the Drake for the Baron, but Brandon's needs help is right here. And it's going to be a beautiful kick from Tafiki, a very nice play. And he didn't even get a chance to use his Gore Drinker. Maybe it would have kept up a little bit longer, but now they just need to burn down the Baron here. It's getting so dangerously low, but they do have the Baron debuff on them, but it is going to go over to the side of Shogun 27-7, but they're taking the fight with such low HP bars. Lemon Sap, huge shockwave, hits onto multiple members. Now it's just Crockpot and Tafiki who have to stay alive, and they can't do it. It is going to be Crockpot flashing out, but Zyphus is just running him down, hits the slow. Oh, Lemon Sap flashing in, trying to get the kill, and it is going to be a huge ace coming out from the side of Crystal Cave Gaming, and the pings are coming down onto the Drake. Can they take it without Tafiki's dad killing them all? I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I think they, the answer to that question, no. I don't think they get it as easy because you still have Tafiki's dad coming down here, who again could easily kill out 2 of them just because of the fact that they're very low. But again, this is where you have to look at that fight. Like it just really went into their favor. But oh my.
Oh, he flashes in, but a beautiful stopwatch blocks all that damage for Lemon Sap, and now he has to stay alive, but he can't do it. Zyphus and King Cross doing what they can, but Tafiki's dad is just healing off of all of them, and look how much healing that is. He stays alive. It's going to be the 3v1 turnaround. CBXL coming in to clean up a kill, and they're going to be taking the Hex Soul here. You have to imagine, unless Brandon needs help, can pull something out of his hat here, his bag of tricks, look for the steal. Because you have to realize that Tafiki is just now joining the fight, can win the Smite fight more than likely, but I don't think he wins the Burst War if it were to come down to it. And they drag it out just a little bit, and he goes in, but it's far too late. He's getting slowed up, being forced to flash with an ultimate from Tamari. And even though they lost, well, even though they got the Baron but lost the fight, they got the Soul, and they're looking to close out the game. You have to imagine, or at least put some pressure on these turrets.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Brandon needs help. Overstayed his welcome just a little bit. Tafiki looking for the angle of the kick. Doesn't quite find it. Doesn't quite need it. Crockpot picks up that kill. And now the siege is on. A stun barely going wide on the top baller there.
We're not even done yet.
Oh man, the curtain call opening up on Tamari, and you're right, we're not even done as the Orianna Shockwave doesn't quite hit anyone. It goes completely wide there. And Lemon Sap gets so close to getting that kill, but it is going to be Zyphus who picks up with the Bell's Breath at the end of the day. But Tafiki in the backline flashes the mastery, picks up a beautiful double kill using the kick. And I think this is the end of the game here. Shogun 2077, I'm not quite sure how they can lose at the point, or how even Brandon needs help stalls it out. I don't think he can. Tafiki's dad marching it in with Tafiki and Toe, CB Excel and Crockpot, the ones remaining alive, and Brandon needs help, tries to do anything. Don't think he can do it. Goes on to CB Excel here, tries to get a kill, doesn't have flash out, but it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. A triple kill for Tafiki.
Yeah, Tafiki, I just played this game very well. He, even though got behind that a little bit early, rounded himself out, got to the point of getting ahead, and then once he did, he didn't let go. He was able to kind of control the game for his team, get that lead still going in his bot lane as well, and because of that, now you have Lucian who again, was doing a lot of damage there. You had him on Tafiki, on Lee Sin, just being able to provide that utility of, hey, I need to go and kick. I need to kick them into the team, or just, you know what, do that extra damage to displace them. And yeah, it just really went into Shogun's favor because of the fact that, again, they tried more of that pick style. And when you did have team fights, it seemed like you only had 3 coming out of Crystal Cave. So if Crystal decided to keep 4 to 5 in a lot of the fights, maybe it could have gone another way. But just a little unfortunate here for this game 1 for them. But again, really good job by Shogun here for game 1.
Absolutely, Shogun. Great play across the board. Top lane was a very strong power point for them. No real weaknesses. I don't think he died to a single gank once, or even if there were any ganks on his side or against him. Tafiki's dad absolutely smashing the top lane matchup. Tafiki all over the map. Really great stuff. Their first gank in the mid lane was a little bit of a it fest, but they managed to turn around off the back of that. And of course, in the bot lane, very nice. So this is where you go back to the drawing board on the side of Crystal Cave Gaming and say, okay, so not everything worked out there. What new do we have in our bag of tricks? What can we bring out that will confuse and stuff the side of Shogun 2077? But with that, we will be taking it to a very quick break while we wait for game 2 to begin. Don't go anywhere. I am your caster, Arlant, joined by Gigatron. Why do I keep signing this out?
You're good, man.
There's no medicine for what you put in. I don't know, and I don't know why, but I let it in. For that I repent, and I don't know, and I don't know why. Look, I was saved from the shit that you said. Wish I could change the words that you said. And there's no medicine, there's no medicine. Your words crawling to my ears tonight. I'm crawling hypnotized by parasitic lies. I'm crawling sort of. I'm crawling sort of. I'm crawling sort of. Now here we go, you're dedicated. You're a celebrate. When you break me right down. You're killing me, premeditated. I'm devastated. Leave me on the ground. Look, I was saved from the shit that you said. Wish I could change the words that you said. And there's no medicine, there's no medicine. Your words crawling to my ears tonight. I'm crawling hypnotized by parasitic lies. I'm crawling sort of. I'm crawling sort of. I'm crawling sort of. I'm playing calling sword. I'm calling sword. I'm calling sword.
And welcome back, folks. We are getting right into it. Shogun 2077 is going to be on the blue side. Crystal Cave Gaming are going to take the red side for game number 2 here. And we are hopping directly into the pick ban phases. Shogun 2077 opting to take away the Vygar, Mundo, Diana, whereas Crystal Cave Gaming taking away the Hecarim, Trundle, and Alawi. The Alawi was a huge power pick for the side of Shogun and really made Crystal Cave sweat bullets. They didn't have a true answer to it throughout the entire game. Always had to bring 2 or 3 members over to deal with the Alawi.
Yeah, and this thing is like, okay, when Alawi gets ahead, she kind of becomes like the mini raid boss herself of like, all right, now I need to pull people, because the fact that she had Hullbreaker, she had really good items to the point of like, yeah, I'm super tanky, and if you try to take me on, it's not going to go in your favor. So, but I like that, again, they didn't change up their bans for 27-7. You still have the Alawi be the new ban coming out from Crystal Cave, but we see a Volibear. Interesting.
That one is very interesting. Not quite sure if Volibear is the priority you would want. He can definitely work, though. He can definitely work. Now, is it going to be a Volibear top, a Volibear jungle? We aren't quite sure about that yet, but what we do know, it is going to be Galio. Again, though, where does this Galio go? Is it a counter pick into Leona, or is it a mid lane Galio here? We're not certain until all the other picks more than likely are going to be locked in, but already you can kind of see the idea that Crystal Cave want to go for. They want the Volibear over top, the Galio after that, and then they can just really look to punish them again. So another teamfight composition coming out from this side of Crystal Cave, and Shogun opting for the Ezreal Leona. So the Leona more than likely looking to roam away from this Ezreal. Not a champion you could play around in the bot lane, unlike some of the other picks that are available. The Jinx is still up, interestingly enough. The Aphelios as well. Both champions, both super strong, and both didn't get picked in the last game, or banned, I even think.
You said the Volibear and the Galio you talking about, or?
I'm talking about the Jinx and Aphelios. Were either one of those banned last game, or were they just not?
No.
Okay,
they were
so
not.
both weren't picked. Interesting. Not having priority on one of those 2 hyper carries.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, just because of the fact that those are just really good champions that, again, even the Zeri slipping is very good too. So it's just, a nice thing that they are prioritizing their bot lane early by going for that Leona and the Ezreal. I think Leona is great because then it takes away from King Cross. So, and if you can perform well like you did the first time around, again in the second game, then yeah, I mean, keep taking it.
Absolutely, and that will be the misfortune on the side of Crystal Cave. So again, another team fight composition coming out. How does Shogun respond? Well, they've responded with the Ezreal, Leona, and Graves. So Graves, another flex pick that can go into the top lane. That's something you really want to be looking at if you're Crystal Cave, because if that does go into the top lane, there's a very big issue for you to deal with, right? That is something that you have to counter pick with. So what do you counter pick that with? Well, you still have the Gwen up, you still have the Camille up, you still have a Kali up, and you still have the Jace up, and it's Tryndamere, all champions that can deal with Jace's Graves split push and can split push of their own or group to team fight if that Graves does go into the top side. But that remains to be seen if it is guaranteed to go into the top side. Again, I think Shogun still has a missing ban for using a sub. Yep, it is one ban loss. So Shogun will not be banning the last champion, so their last ban will be the Anivia. So taking away some of that mid priority, probably looking to blind their mid laner here.
Yeah, they could blind their mid laner. I mean, honestly, you already know Graves is most likely going top. You could just opt to take, you know, your jungle or your top side here. It really doesn't matter.
Absolutely, and we're waiting. It will be Lilia getting banned out. So again, Mordekaiser, Lilia, the last two bans from Crystal Cave, they don't want to face that, and that is a very fair thing you don't want to face, because I hate both of those champions. They both could be super annoying in lane and very devastating outside of it. We've all had a Mordekaiser run amok in our games and absolutely smack us over the head with his hammer. But back to finally back to Crystal Cave Gaming. So what do you pick here? What do you blind? Do you blind your mid laner? More than likely that is what they're looking to do with the Orianna pickup potentially.
He played it perfectly well that first game.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he could have that lane dominance again, even into a counter, because he definitely just controlled the ball very well, was able to trade, do a lot, and help the team as much as possible. And then I think the interesting fact would be, yeah, you're probably getting a MF Galio bot. You're gonna have Orianna mid. I think it's Jungle Volley. We'll see. Oh, Ziggs.
Ziggs mid. Haven't seen that one in a while, but with the Ziggs Ezreal, that's a lot of poke. That's a lot of poke you have to deal with on the side of Crystal Cave. And one thing poke does is it creates space, it creates pressure, and it makes up for tempo that you might not have in terms of number, which creates space for another split push composition that Shogun could look to run here if they go for it. And it won't be that. Instead, it will be the Set, who can still be a threat in the split push, but much more known for the grouping, much more known for getting those multi-man slams and multi-man haymakers. So what do you counterpick that with if you're the side of Crystal Cave? More than likely the Galio is going, well, it's definitely confirmed the Galio is going into that support role. I haven't seen Galio top in a while. So what do you grab here? What is the angle? What is the move? Like we said, those bruisers still up and available for them. What do you grab? The Kale.
Okay.
Interesting pick here.
So it's good scaling, of course. It takes a while to ramp. I think this could work for them, but you already have like essentially two tanks, so you really don't need to have like another tank being up there. Like take Gragas, for example, who we've been seeing a lot, you know, in LCS and across the amateur even. He's just a really good sustain tank top that can trade a lot, do a lot of damage, and pretty much be the menace that he is sometimes. And I think that's where they realize, hey, you know what? We don't really need Gragas. We have the Galio Volley Bear. We're gonna throw Bear in jungle. Just play a top that you're comfortable with, and especially, you know, the Kale. Kale will be a really good thing for them, just because he can shred through Set, can shred through Graves eventually when it comes to team fights. So even if he is getting those passive stacks going, he will be still punished in that aspect. So I think that's really nice coming out here for Crystal Cave. But again, as always, it really depends on how Shogun's playing, because Shogun played a very good game one, and we can see potentially a lot of ganks onto this Kale.
Oh, absolutely. This Kale is a notable weak point for the side of Crystal Cave, but if they can make it work, once she hits that level 16, she becomes a threat that no one, I think, on the side of 2077 can match. But yeah, I think, you know, it's interesting that they both sides are choosing to run it back, essentially. 2077 saying, you know what, we'll run back our early game against your late game comps. We'll see if you guys, we'll skill check you guys. If you guys can do it again, then game 3 we might bust out something different. And Crystal Cave is kind of saying in response, like, we need more of that confidence back. We need to show them that we can win with our late game style of comps, with our team fight style of comps. So both sides are choosing essentially to run it back, and I find that extremely interesting. The Kale, like you said, a notable weak point, but Lemon Sap here on the Orianna can definitely do a lot of work. We already saw into the Syndra, which I say is a much harder matchup than the Ziggs. You know, Ziggs not quite as good in terms of setup. You know, his satchel needs to be placed perfectly to take advantage of the Orianna, but at the end of the day, we will have to see. The bot lane, a much more of a wash. You know, Galio, Sin, more Misfortune, not quite as good, but you're facing a Ezreal, Leona, a Leona who more than likely is just going to leave, and Ezreal is just going to stand back and throw Qs out every once in a while.
Yeah, and this is kind of what you guys like. Really good poke, but it's a really good comp that when it comes to team fights, it'll still work out well, because Set can showstopper someone. And to the team, like, you just take the Gallery or the Bear and you do a lot of damage with that. Or even just be like, hey, you know what? Oh, Kale used Judgment. Awesome. I'm going to just throw her, because whether she gets hit on the crash down or not of showstopper, I can just throw her in the rest of her team. So it's going to be really nice. And then keeps her out of the fight too, because of the fact that, hey, if she protects herself, she can't attack. So it'll be interesting to see how they use the showstopper effectively. Is it more of a flank style? Is it more of a, hey, whoever's there in the front line, just toss them kind of a thing? And again, you talked about it before, you get that free reign poke with Ezreal and Ziggs, so they could just line them up and just shoot them down pretty well. I think it's going to be an interesting one.
I agree with you, but with that, we will be taking it to a break. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is Crystal Cave's last chance to eke out, you know, a win versus Shogun 2077, and Shogun 2077. They want to close out this in a quick 2-0 fashion here. Don't go anywhere.
Disco Dancer. Disco Dancer. Disco, disco. Mr. Mr. Dancer. Mr. Dancer. Disco Dancer. Disco Dancer. Disco Disco. Disco. Disco Dancer.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the potentially the last game of this series, Shogun 2077 on the blue side, and on your red side, it is going to be Crystal Cave Gaming. Now, again, Crystal Cave has gone for that sort of team fight style of comp, and on the other side, Shogun has gone for another sort of a mid to early game sort of comp. A little bit of early trading starting out here. And do you see anything worth talking about in terms of runes or interesting item setups? Something unique here, Gigatron.
The unique thing is now, first game around, we had like the Alawi being the one being offset on the right side. Now we have the bear being the offset. But of course, it's spectators' fault. I love it when we get bugs like this. But yeah, just something that kind of stands out is we see First Strike, of course, with Ezreal. We're seeing Fleet still come out of Graves, which is kind of expected. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. But I think it's just kind of still everything kind of seems normal. What about you?
Nothing really for me either. Maybe just the only thing I would talk about is the difference in strength. You know, you still see a lot of Ezreal mains, you know, debate the viability of the First Strike versus, you know, Lethal Tempo or even Conquer. A lot of them still, you know, go back and forth about that daily. So I can't say which one is correct. I'm not an Ezreal main, and I don't attest to beat, thankfully. I much enjoy playing the game. That's putting it in my turn for 25 minutes, and then throwing out some Qs once it hits 30 minutes. But either way, the game is off to a lot less explosive start. A lot more, you know, a lot less is happening. You know, in the bot lane, we don't have that interesting level 2 shenaniganery quite yet. So yeah, nothing to point out, nothing to talk about, nothing to complain about.
No, I mean, the thing too is like, it's not that first strike isn't bad. I think it's just really dependent on what you're going against. So for example, obviously Bears would be going in, so he could get free reign on him pretty easy. You have the Galio, who could be jumping in with Heroic Justice. So that's another one that first strike will be good with. So yeah, it might not be good early on, necessarily if you're not able to get those pokes out, but that's where, again, it would be better in that like mid to late game, just because, or more of that team fight aspect, just because of the fact that, hey, someone jumps in, someone tries to do anything, they can at least punish them at least a little bit with some poke or just some damage coming into them.
You're absolutely right about that. And yeah, even what, going to the top lane just a little bit. Look at that CS lead that's already forming. Set a super strong early game champion, getting that priority, forcing Volibear away from that Scuttle Crab. And you have to realize, Volibear, this top side is no longer your own, especially when you have such a weak Kale into a set. He can't even walk up to get CS, let alone walk down to help you. So I very much like the usage of Tafiki's dad there to get down and help his son. As again, a very nice dodge away from Zyphus, but can you really walk up and CS? Not ideally. So the scale is just going to be starving for CS at least until level 6, and that's, still a few minutes off.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit away. I think the other thing I'm interested to see is how just Kale's gonna perform, and two, how different this mid lane is gonna be now that we see him on Ziggs instead of the Syndra.
Absolutely. He last time when it was the Syndra versus Orianna versus Syndra, it was a little bit rough for the side of Crockbot. He really just got absolutely dominated in terms of laning. It was just pretty much all lemon stat. But now that we're watching a more even lane, it looks like he's definitely keeping up in terms of CS. Not too far down a little bit, but like I said, not too far down. He can definitely make something work here, and like I said, it's a little bit easier to land the abilities, but not quite as much playmaking setup as the Syndra. Zyphus, even under his turret, not safe to walk up and grab the CS. It's a rough situation to be Kale right here. It's just gonna be set walking up and punching your turret, taking whatever he wants quite realistically, at least until you get that level 6.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Is like, okay, what's your 6? Yeah, you get a little bit more range. Part of the problem is like, you're trying to CS but not go out too far, because if you do,
that's gonna happen. You get pulled back for a stun, and he's just gonna get a rather free trade on you. Tafiki's dad just looking to get that last extra punch, but does not get it. One thing I want to highlight is how much this game is it's a lot different from last time. Last time it was a lot more ready to go by this point. There were already summoners being blown in the bot side, already kills getting taken over in the mid lane, but this time both sides are willing to play the waiting game, willing to play for a very patient game. So not too bad at all. Just looking at the, what is that? It's going to be the Infernal Drake. It's already come up for a while now, and again, interesting that neither side has taken advantage of it. Neither side has the opportunity to in the bot side. It's been mostly the Misfortune Galio who has the push, and the Ezreal Leona, the only side that would really want to take a Drake this early, not having that. Again, another pullback. Figi's dad is just absolutely abusing this Kale here.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, even though she's 6, yes, she's got range now. Look at her mana. Her mana is super low. Yeah, she could just poke him out with the range now. Of course, no problem. But the moment that even Tafiki comes up there, or you see Crackback come, or neither. I mean, he could just get that lane advantage to himself to the point of like, oh, hey, you stepped out, Kale. What did I tell you last time? Like, you're just going to get pulled in. You're going to just get beaten down. And I think it's just really going to be beneficial to them if they can keep kind of doing that. As we've been seeing, he's been trying to poke out that little bit more. Excel, are you going to? Nope. You don't get a free first strike trade out on it. But this feeds in. He gets that little bit more CS. Maybe he can catch up finally to that 57 for himself, and himself in a little bit better game. But yeah,
Absolutely.
we're gonna say sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. I was just gonna point out that Zyphus did use his teleport there, and so did Lemon Sap and Crockbot. So the only person would teleport. Nope.
Not
Even
right.
as I was saying that, even as I was saying it, man, Tafiki's dad uses his own. So there are no teleports in this game. Not that it's as big as a thing now that it's been nerfed, but it's still interesting to point out who uses teleport and who didn't, because you can still track those over the course of the game, and that's something Crockpot and Lemon Sap are calling out about the other player, and most definitely Zyphus and Tafiki's dad are calling out about each other. So just lane domination from either side going back and forth, and this time King Kraus looking to secure some vision around this Drake. As wow, we're just sitting here waiting for something to happen, sitting here with bated breath as both sides just farming back and forth. About a 5k gold lead though for 2077 as Tafiki is on the other side of the map. What are you doing there? And it is going to be Brandon forced to flash out. The ignite did come through from Tamari. That's a very nice catch. Tafiki's that throws the ultimate, doesn't find the kill. Still a nice chunk of health on the side of Brandon, and nothing comes out of that little play.
Yeah, I mean, Enderline did a lot of good damage. Collateral damage, unfortunately, just doesn't, I don't know, comes a little short. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, like, it's just really good by them. You burn the flash, and oh, you get a gauge going on the bot side.
Oh, we got an engage going on top side and bot side. Tamari uses the solar flare, but look at that in the top side. Even as we're talking about that in the bot side, it is going to be Tafiki Zach getting picked up by Zyphus. Not quite sure what happened. I think he used the ultimate under the turret, tried to flash away, but Zyphus not even having to pop their own ultimate. Or even flash. That's a huge advantage for this Kale here. So it was a relatively free pickup. And right there, Tamari just got caught up by the top baller, hits the ultimate over top, and with the ignite ticking down, it is going to be a kill given over to the Gallia and a kill given over to the Kale. So with all of a sudden the game is back in the favor of the side of Crystal Cave.
And so what's actually really good is that Red Ward is actually there from Brandon. So Brandon was able to basically give him like an unofficial assist of killing the set. Like, and that's what's really so beneficial too, because like if Set was able to not be seen in that bush, he gets away easy. Because Kale just, if she doesn't have her speed up from the heal, and doesn't have the ability to kind of just stick on him again, he just gets away and basically, yeah, has to burn unfortunately the flash and the ult there, but again, he's trying to be super aggressive. This is what a lot of set players do. They try to like throw people under the turret, see if they could just kind of show off their prowess of like, yeah, I have a bully champion that, you know what, I can do whatever I want. No, it doesn't always happen. So
yeah, I can throw you under your own turret and beat you up and throw a haymaker that protects me for most of my HP. But even as we talk about that, Tafiki's that trying to get some more trading done. It looks like nothing will happen. Going forward a little bit. Maybe the dragon gets started up. You see Brandon needs help hovering around there, but it's going to be the flash in from King Kraus. Excel forced to flash out, but look who is in the backline. Brandon needs help. Goes down onto the Ezreal, and he's getting popped immediately. Top baller survives, but barely using the heal to get away. Still has the flash, though. King Kraus has already died. Tamari goes in, and look who is taking so much damage. Tamari right there, but nothing else happened to because that getting cut off by the slow, and it is going to be Brandon going back in for the stun. Top baller picks that kill up, and they just walking through the mines. That's going to be Crockpot getting pulled back in. A very nice shockwave and a double kill over the top baller. Brandon needs help surviving with just a fair sliver of HP, and it is going to be both the Volibear and the Misfortune up. 2 kills to none.
yeah, I mean, you have to look at it was done really well.
Oh, even as we take a quick talking break there. Tafiki's dad ults in Zyphus, but Zyphus is just walking out. Has the flash still, has the ultimate still, is in no real threat. He does not care. Walks away from the set, and they look to start up that Drake, but at the end of the day decided it was just too risky of a play.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of unfortunate for the set because you really want like a set to just be able to kind of like freely punch on people and get the damage out, and he did on her, but it just wasn't able to kind of keep up just because of the fact that he only has tier 1 boots and she's got the tier 2. She's slightly faster than him, so even with the little speed boost he gets from his knuckle down there. He just doesn't, come up with anything with that. So it's unfortunate, but that's, as a set player, just get the CS, just try to get some more damage, get some more items for yourself. But yeah, it's just, again, pretty good fight.
Going in for Cyphus here. A very nice flash and get away from danger. Tafiki looking to follow up. They have ultimates, and it is going to be the KO. Using hers at the very last second. Collateral damage was used, but Zyphus surviving the 3-man gank. Very well played from them. And they lost, and going for that play meant that they lost all the tempo, even though they have so much ward coverage, and none of the wards get spotted out by that control ward there. They can't go for the Drake anymore. It is completely lost. So all they have to do is take the Constellation Rift Herald and the top side. Tabiki looking to pick that one up, and a few plates in the top side. But Zyphus using teleport to get back to lane. And yeah, feels very good to be that kill. I didn't think he would survive, to be honest.
A lot of people kind of don't think she'll survive, just because, again, she's got more that squishier champion. Even though she provides, really good damage, the heal is just, dare I say, abysmal for herself. So
You're bad.
yeah, that's probably the one thing I think they need to fix out of her, definitely. But yeah, I mean, she gets away. She's able to go back to lane, still create that pressure there, and yeah, this is where I kind of worry a little bit for Tafiki's dad, but I also want to see how this bot lane goes now for the CBSL and Tamir, just because of the fact that they played the Leona last time, and now it's kind of not as great into the Galio right now.
No, it's not doing as much work as it found last game. But as we get into 14 minutes, about 15 minutes, we're going to be seeing what items are getting picked up. That's going to be the Kim tank for the Volibear, the Sandry's mask, or is it Anguish or is it mask? I think it's Anguish for the side of the Orianna. And it is going to be a Kraken Slayer on the Misfortune, so it's not going to be the Lethality Misfortune, but even as I talk, look at that. That's going to be the Solar Flare going out onto the Misfortune. She gets stunned up, so much damage. Top baller trying to get away. They managed to do it, but that is going to be the Ziggs walking out of the smoke. A great ultimate from CBXL, and look how low the Misfortune falls. She doesn't quite drop her HP in the single digits, but King Kraus sacrificing his life for his AD carry there, and you have to imagine this turret goes down. First turret of the game going over to Shogun here. A nice little play to get back, some gold in their pockets. They were quite realistically losing up to this point, but now they've managed to equalize it up again. Zyphus still scaling in the top side. Tafiki's dad walking after, but Lemon Sap, what are you doing here? This isn't your territory. And it's going to be Tamari finding the root, finding the stun, and Tafiki's dad and Excel picking up the kill. Excel getting the final hit. And the ultimate was used. A very unfortunate situation there from Lemon Sap. Didn't even get a chance to use his own flash. Oh, but that's going to be Tafiki flashing in here. Speaking of that, and it's going to be Cyphus turning around, auto and kiting. That's going to be the ultimate coming out from Tafiki's dad. He's under turret. He's tanking a little bit. And it's going to be Zyphus dropping the ultimate. The 2 damage does absolutely nothing. And Cyphus walking a little bit too far away, a little bit outside of range of that. And he's going to be chasing him down. He hit the slow. Both of them don't have flash, but with the teleport coming out from Crockpot, he realizes that he's got to get out of dodge here. And just barely dodging the stun, barely dodging the pullback, but Crockpot still has the bombs. Throws one, misses it, and I don't think they catch up.
No, I think the big thing was, yeah, you need that face breaker to work, because if you got that, then yeah, she definitely dies, because you can throw the minefield, you can throw the sash to bring her back, and it would just be all she wrote for her. But again, just seeing that they're trying to do something here. They're trying to make some plays across the map, as we see that Leona is roaming now, trying to clear those wards, stay with Tafiki, see if they can get a 3-man going anywhere. But yeah, unfortunate, just Lemon Sap, like we were talking about before, just gets caught out. And this is where, again, they need to realize their jungle's not really their jungle anymore.
Yeah, especially not when they had so many, enemy area players in the area in the first place. But he's trying to take the turret here, just to a little bit of damage, and it is going to be Zyphus running him down a little bit. Doing quite a fair chunk of damage. Brandon needs help in the area, maybe potentially looking for the dive, and that's one thing I want to highlight. We haven't seen the Volibear ultimate used as a dive really at all. They haven't looked for those, even though it is one of the best dive tools in the game. shuts down those turrets quite easily. And, you know, going back to first items, we see the Eclipse from the Graves, a very nice item. And it is going to be the Hole Breaker from the set for his first item. So looking to play that split push game, looking to play that long game against the Kale. But even at the end of the day, there's going to be a point where you cannot run down the Kale anymore, where you cannot force the Kale out of this lane. So it's going to be a rough one. But as I'm talking, 20 seconds to this next Drake, and it is going to be the first Ocean Drake. So not going to be Ocean Soul this game. Maybe another Hextech Soul?
Maybe. You know what? We're gonna get that spicy Chemtech. That's what we're gonna get.
I hope not, dude.
We've broken the game enough between server problems to the point of, you know, everything's not working, and yeah. Oh my. Look at that burst.
Look how much damage you're doing. Half health to Fiki there, and that's gotta hurt. Top baller staying back a little bit low himself, but looks like it will be the easy pickup here from the side of Brandon, but it's going to be the steal by Tafiki. He picks it up. Brandon and squad forced to run back, forced to retreat. Brandon getting so low. Corral damage hits absolutely no one, but a beautiful shockwave pulls him right into the ultimate. Lemon Sap flashing after him, looking for Tafiki so very low. Oh no, Excel! He messed up his flash, his E, and he did it in the exact same spot. The heal comes out so they can chase him down. He has no other tools. That's going to be Zyphus picking one up off of the teleport, and even though they got the Drake, they lost the fight in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, and this is where, even though Sid's kind of coming in trying to see if he can get on to Brandon.
Maybe he's looking for the pullback, looking for the ultimate, doesn't quite find it, but all he can do is try and defend this turret, but he's alone on the turret. I don't think he can do it, so he's forced to run away and forced to retreat at the end of the day, but that was a really great turn from the side of Crystal game. Yeah,
I mean, Crystal, even though they started the Drake and it looked like it was going to go in their favor, they lose it to the good old smite fight fashion, and yeah, it just went in their favor of the team fight because, like you mentioned, they had the shockwave, perfectly pull people into the already used bullet time, and because of that, now people just get free rain damage on them, and they played it really well because it was in a choke spot too. Like, it wasn't like, oh, just this in the blue of the middle of the river or anything. They forced themselves back. They played it right. You know, try to bait in Shogun here, and it worked out really well for them.
Yeah, Shogun just filed in and got caught out, and it worked out for them. Very nice ultimate from top baller, 4-0 on the Smith's Fortune. And you know, Lemon Sap doesn't have the greatest scoreline in the world, 0, 1, and 6, but they're still winning that mid lane matchup quite handily, 163 CS to 131. And at the end of the day, that's just what you want to see from a mid laner. Even though they may not have the best scoreline in the world, they're still getting high kill participation. They're still there for your team, and they're still out CSing the opponent. And you know, what more could you really ask besides, you know, more kills on the Orianna? But at the end of the day, they're not the main carry of this team. It's going to be Zyphus and top baller here to do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be those two. I feel like you, even though I have good bursts from Lemon Soap, it's just, or Lemon Sap, not Soap, Lemon Sap, it's just not enough necessarily. But yeah, this is where you get a good combo. Brandon can dive in, bring King Cross with a good setup for that bullet time again, or just those free hits from Zyphus like you talked about. So
absolutely, one thing I want to highlight is just, you know, the state of the game. Nobody really has been topside in quite a while, so that's a lot of minions on both sides that are just going to waste several waves wasted while they set up death bushes from the side of Shogun. And if you think about it, you could have the Ezreal up there, you could have Crockpot with teleport up there just collecting those waves under turret, or on the other side you could have top baller potentially shoving the turret in. But finally Lemon Sap is going to be the first one to walk up there and start collecting some rather free gold, and you don't have anything to respond to. The Baron just spawned a few minutes ago, and the you know, another Hextech soul, so that doesn't spawn for a little bit, a minute and 30 seconds, and they're trying to collect this tier 1, but I don't think it happens anytime soon.
No, maybe next wave, if that, but you do have the volley bear on the side here trying to potentially come in, so maybe this will, nope, this does not make them go back.
Yep, they do not care. They're just looking to get some damage down so Crockpot can drop it. CBXL using Arcane Shift. But nothing happens at the end of the day. But yeah, just so much time being wasted here on both sides, both looking for that tier 1 turret. I'm not quite sure. You know, they could be doing so many other things. You know, Brandon could be farming like Tafiki is. Lemon Sap could be farming as well, but with the Hextech Drake spawning in 50 seconds, I guess both teams are a little bit too cautious around that objective, rather both looking for it. And it's going to be the Misfortune backing for the Collector second. It's a very interesting one. But yeah, that is going to be giving first move over to 2077, but they haven't, you know, reset yet. They picked up a lot of gold, they picked up a lot of waves, but they haven't reset to use any of that gold yet. So now the resets are finally coming out, and it's going to be a rough situation for them to get back to this Drake in time.
Right, and like you called it, we get a Hextech Soul. So again, it's gonna be a really good one. I wonder if at this point who gets it. But
You have to wonder. Both sides are jockeying for position, not quite setting up the vision yet. Just a singular Rift Scuttle vision thing in the middle of the river. No other wards around it.
Fire's fine.
Oh, Squire is fine. Right. Thank you. But it is going to be Tamari and the rest of the squad moving in from the bot side. I think it is this time. It is going to be picked up by Lemon Sap. He's forced to flash out. It goes wide. The solar flare, but the dunk comes in. Zyphus getting pulled back in. So much damage. Look at the true damage. But they survive. No! Zyphus doesn't get to use the ultimate. But the taunt flash comes through. Top baller forced to flash away. And that is going to be the Galio getting picked up as well. Lemon Sap doing what he can. Trying to find a kill. Doesn't quite find it. Team Baller finds one. Finds two. Doesn't find the third, and it's gonna, does find a triple kill, but it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. Crockpot picks up that kill, and it is going to be going over to this, well, the one fight is going to be going over to the side of Shogun 27-7, but they lost to Drake. And at the end of the day, I think that's what matters most to the scaling team there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing you have to look at is, yes, you trade a couple of your own for this, but you get everything that you get an ace. It worked really well for them. Unfortunately, it's just, again, you're still losing out some gold there. Oh, and he does the satchel too soon. Oh,
Yeah.
so unfortunate. But
Happens.
yeah, I get it. It's just a really good team fight that Shogun's taking, and yeah, you lose some of the process, you lose the Drake, but doesn't mean that they can't get themselves going that little bit more. I think they just need to get some good moves here like this, potentially.
Look at that. Just trading a little bit with the support King Cross here. Nothing else happens about it, so it is going to be all okay. I was about to say he lost it, lost the red to the reset, but it didn't happen fully, so he's able to pick that up off of a very nice crit. And yeah, you know, nothing else really too happening. It's two items coming through for a few people. The supports, of course, aren't even near their second. Everyone else has pretty much reached theirs, or even going for third, and that's going to be Brandon ulting in on CBXL, but he just uses Arcane Shift away, and nothing else happens. Lemon Sap wasn't quite ready for that play. Didn't use the ultimate to respond that quickly, so CBXL gets away with his life.
Yeah, CBXL. Hey, you know what? This is why you play the Ezreal. You got the escapability with the Arcane Shift. You have your flash if needed. But yeah, it's just a really good ability that, you know, I think a lot of people would like that more than their dashes.
You know, have a second flash would be pretty balanced on Irelia, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, even think of it this way. You get hooked by Blitz and then you don't go because you Arcane Shift. Is great.
True. That's
The only bad one would be Thresh. Thresh, you still get hooked.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, he still goes.
But you know, I think it's pretty great. You know, if every champion had an Arcane Shift just on an ability, and Irelia's get reset. Oh man, that would be very balanced. Good idea, Riot. Yeah, implement that one, please. But even as
are you sure you really want that one, especially with Zeri, who's already got really good movement? Oh, but
oh no, Crockpot, does he get it off in time? I think he does, but does he drop any lower? He's trying to run away, but I don't think he runs away at the end of the day. Yep, it's gonna be Brandon picking up that kill. Woolly Bear 3-1 here. Crockpot overextended way too much.
use the good old dab Pengu there. Fortunately, thinks he gets away, but not gonna be the case. And yeah, it's just really gonna get my bear just to try to flank. You know, realize, hey, it's squishy Yordle. Let's just collapse on him. Even if he tries to minefield or throw a satchel at me, I'm able to just do a lot with it to get around him and just stick on him, and really good job there. So, and didn't have to burn his ult for it either.
Oh yeah, he didn't even have to use his ultimate, so that is another tool that he will have up when this Drake spawns in about 40 seconds thereabouts. And yeah, they're setting up vision, but now this Kale is so dangerously close to that level 16 power spike, 2 items plus boots, looking to back to start the beginnings of a third, and that can be the third item, Rabadon's Death Cap, and that is a very dangerous Kale to go into, no matter who you are on the side of 2077 here. Kale has the teleport, so Zyphus is going to be matching the setup here. Both of them have the teleport, and again, the Kale can run him down. But it remains to be seen who gets the Drake. And the other side is quite close to that soul point, so you know, it's even if they lose the fight, it's not too awful, but neither side wants to lose it here.
No, I think you want to just make sure, hey, do we go to 4 Drakes or do we just go to 1 Drake? You know, extra being coming up, or I should say 2 Drakes, you know, kind of a thing. So
Teleported early into the bot side. Look right there. He's finally joined the team as they start DPSing it down, and Tafiki goes in for the steal. Does he get it? He gets it again. That's a double steal for Tafiki, and they're gonna start the fight off. Tafiki's dad running into the middle, but look at Tamari already getting bursted down. True damage is huge, but it's not enough, and that's gonna be top baller. No, yes, top baller gets bursted down there. Still die with both summoners up, but it doesn't even matter. Crockbot gets taken down, and it is gonna be Zyphus running them down, trying to do what he can. Ooh, they get so low. CBXL trying to turn this around, but he's gonna have to do it. Brandon gets the stun off, and he's gonna get slowed up here. Has the flash, has the heal. Doesn't even matter. He's trying to do some damage, trying to do some DPS. Has the crown, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. They can't go for Baron, thankfully, for the side of 27-7. But that is a completely devastatingly won fight, and they didn't even have to use the Kale ultimate, and Lemon Sap pretty much whiffed his Orianna ultimate.
yeah, it's a little unfortunate sometimes. Ults just don't hit anything, and I mean the other thing too is like King Cross used the Heroic Justice, and no one got caught up in it either. So it's just a real big misplay coming out from Crystal Cave here, and I think that they can, you know, turn this around. I think it's just you gotta look at these plays, see what you're doing, try to reevaluate and reassess yourself at that point. But I mean, two Drakes getting stolen now from you. I'd be probably mental booming at this point. I ain't gonna lie. I would be like, what am I doing wrong? What is my team doing wrong? Yada yada. But
oh, even as we're talking, it's gonna be another gank in the side lane. But look at that! Top baller taken so low. Use both of the summoners to get away from Tafiki's dad, and he gets executed with the collector. But do they find anything on the other side of the map? No one was set up for the Baron play. So at the end of the day, it is just a relatively free kill picked up for the side of Crystal Cave. That is going to be killed, going for the Rabadons there. So moving into the Baron dance, 30 minutes in the game. King Kraus looking to go in, Brandon looking to go in. They have ultimates, they go into Crockpot, and he gets bursted down before he can even use the satchel charge. The taunt doesn't find anyone at the end of the day, but it doesn't need to, because they have 2 kills and they have a free Baron to go for. Maybe Tafiki can find another steal here, but I just don't think it's likely this time.
no, I don't think so either. I think you have to look at a full 5 that you guys are gonna go in with 3, even if you do what you just did there.
So Fly goes in, Tamar goes in, and it's gonna be Tafiki trying to get something, but it is gonna be Lemon Sap snapping him down, crushing them completely. Tamari getting chased down as well, and this is the game broken wide open. And from here on out, you just have to imagine that Crystal Cave just wins it. They have so much scaling on their side, and they finally scaled the Orianna, and Zyphus looking so incredibly dangerous here. And of course, how could we discount the Misfortune? 9-2 here, looking to go for an IE third. And they have more than enough gold in their banks for all of those items and more.
More gold in their bank. They need this. I mean, hey, you know what? You got pretty much a 6K lead coming out from Crystal Cave here. I think they just really need to kind of keep things going. I think it was kind of good that Tafiki wasn't able to steal away the Baron from them. I think then I'd be like, yeah, you know what, we're FFing guys. I can't do anything about this. I think at that point I would be like, all right, I'd rather save Bethel, but oh my.
Ooh, even as the turret dies, it's going to be Tafiki dragging Cyphus back in. He managed to get his flash out, but Tafiki's dad is going to start chasing him down. Doesn't have any other slowing techniques and isn't in range for the face breaker. So Cyphus just losing his flash for an ultimate, walks it out. Doesn't even have to pop their own ultimate. It's still his teleport. So at the end of the day, I think that is relatively worth, especially when you take a turret. But one of the remaining strong points on the side of Shogun 27-7 is going to be the Graves, hitting 3 items right there. Very nice, but that's going to be Tamari walking into the wrong place at the wrong time, gets taunted up, gets stunned up, and gets taken down by an auto attack from Lemon Sap. And that is going to be theirs. They're going to take this tier 2 here, look to start the siege of the tier 3. Crockpot gets jumped on, and that's going to be instantly deleted. That was a complete and utter one-shot from top baller and squad.
Yeah, we finally get to see a diamond turret, which is great, and unfortunately, it just it's used at Crockbot. I feel like Crockbot is like an easy target for Brandon that he's just been bullying out as much as possible, and it's just really unfortunate for him. But they're able to take this inhibitor turret here in the mid lane, and again, they have 2 cannons now peppering in on these inhibitor. Actually, the inhibitor here, so a really good job by them. And Kale also took another turret down. Oh no!
Yeah, so much pressure on their side, and about a 10,000 gold lead for them. Kale just farming up camps, taking everything, leaving Tafiki in the dust here, and it really does suck to be 2077 here, having to dance around Lemon Sap's dangerous Oriana ball. They just take this Drake here, look to stack it up to 3, but I don't even think the game is going to go on long enough for Soul. They just need one more fight from the side of Crystal Cave. And Zyphus looking for that angle.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you can get the angle, great. If not, I mean, so be it. I think the big thing is, like you said, yeah, it doesn't have to go to 4 Drakes, but it still could. And if it does, that's where, again, that static is basically going to help Kale even more to create more damage. So I think they are realizing, hey, we do not want this to happen. So they need to make a decision of getting over that a little bit sooner to get those wars.
Uh-oh, Tafiki dashes over the wall. This isn't your area anymore, brother. And that's going to be the flash in from Brandon. He flash out from Tafiki, but that's going to be the ultimate over the top. And that's going to be Brandon collecting his 6th kill of the game. Yeah, Tafiki getting greedy, trying to get some of his camps back, and just didn't realize that that wasn't his jungle anymore. So this begins the siege of another tier 3 here. And look at that, Kale in the top side sieging as well, and their base is getting cracked wide open here. That's going to be the 2nd inhibitor of the game falling. CBXL just poking, doing what he can, and looking for angles here, but this could be the game. All they need to do is focus down the last part. 5 members against 4 for 15 seconds. I think even with Tafiki being here, a little bit of a rough situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I mean, especially when you're out 11k basically now.
Oh, jeez, man.
Sheesh. Like, this
is a lot of gold.
a lot of gold. But I mean, this is, again, spread out more evenly across the team. You have a lot of great items. Kale, again, just is at the 3.5 items burst style right now, because you have the Paladin's hat going over to them. You have the Riftmaker, and I'm sorry, we have 4 items now. We have a Void Staff comes out too, along with an Asher. So yeah, she's gonna do so much damage.
Void Staff plus Nashers plus Riftmaker plus the Death Cap. There's just so much damage on the scale. Level 18 achieved a while ago, so that's a level 3 ultimate. So much damage. There's no single person that can match them in the side push. So yeah, it's devastating. And even the Oriana here, who, you know, originally started this game out as 0, 2, and 6, I do believe, and has since scaled up to 3, 2, and 15. finally reaching their fourth item on the board for top baller as well. And fourth item on the Volibear too. They are just rolling in across the board. Everybody else on the side of 2077 struggling to reach their fourth. And it's not looking pretty here at all. The Baron is spawning in 4 seconds. You have to imagine they just turn and rush that down immediately. Who can contest on the side of 2077? Absolutely no one. And I think that is the call to give it up, because at the end of the day, what else can you do?
Right, because if you do something, you let minions then from either top of mid come into your base and do a lot of damage to it. To again, this the XP and gold that someone needs to be getting, so they really don't want to give up that. But yeah, unfortunately, or unfortunately, however, you know which team people are rooting for right now. Baron is over onto the Crystal Cave side, so because of that. Now again, we're going to see potentially those double cannons getting that buff and just being able to do so much with it. But again, this is where Zyphus is performing very well. I mean, again, that 418, you have a lot of items on this scale already, almost full built. And yeah, you have to wonder, the skill pick wrong here. You know, you kind of think it's a question.
Did so much to Mari there. What else can you do? They're forced off the turret just by the threatening of the dive from Brandon. And, you know, their inhibitor in the mid lane has finally respawned, so it's a huge boon for them. They don't have to worry about that quite as much. Their ultimate comes out from the Ziggs, and now their poke machine is in full effect. CBXL looking for things, but they still have to worry about the engage from the side of King Kraus and Brandon. But they can't find their way in. The wave clear is too good. Even, you know, Ziggs in the game means your wave clears is so strong, even into Baron up minions. But with the Drake spawning in 13 seconds, it's just going to be the Soul going over to the side of Lemon Sap and Squad. Crystal Cave Gaming up 12k plus Soul here. And a 40-minute banger. Oh man, that was quick. That was really quick.
Extremely quick. I mean, again, you have, look at those auto attacks coming out from Zyphus. They're just so strong. It's not even funny. And yeah, they're able to kind of capitalize with it too. You're seeing that again. They're clearing jungle minions pretty easy. They know where most people are on the map, and yeah, I mean it's unfortunately still punishing for Shogun here, but this is where again Crystal's kind of shining and like, hey, you know what? Whoever's on the red side with the Hextech Soul, I think you win.
Absolutely, I think you win it, especially when you have a Kale on your side. They're looking to crack another inhib here with just using the Baron buff. And Kale on the bot side pushing in that turret. Tafiki looking to trade a little bit, but look at the poke. Zyphus taking so much damage. Uses the ultimate out. That's going to be Crockpot looking for a soul kill. He finds it! And that's going to be King Cross flashing in. CBXL flashes away from it. That's going to be Crockpot. Maybe the hero play to save the game for his team just a little bit. Buys him that a little bit extra time to farm up and scale. Absolutely beautiful stuff there. And now they're just looking for this another inhibitor. The second inhibitor. And look at the poke. It's doing so much work here. Absolutely nothing has happened. Look how low Lemon Sap goes. That's going to be Tamari with the engage. They find top baller. He flashes out, but Lemon Sap is the one to die, and it's going to be King Cross following. And they're losing so much here. Absolutely massive misplay from Crystal Cave.
Yeah, Crystal, I think they're realizing, hey, you know what, we can do a lot here with this, and you know what, they do have 2 inhibitors down now, but you trade over, I think, a little too much in that case. And yes, it's not you know, 10k gold, but it's a lot more gold back in the favor for Shogun here, and I think it could go really different here if they're able to push out this mid lane and keep getting turrets.
Absolutely, they did so much damage to that charge there, but in return, Zyphus did so much damage back to them. Finally has the completed Morellos here. And that's going to be Brandon in from the flank, looking for CBXL. He arcane shifts out, and that's going to be the dunk. So much damage with the dunk, and the combo is massive. A huge haymaker. 11,000 true damage. They're chasing down Brandon. They're looking for him. The teleport comes out from Lemon Sap. That's going to be King Cross finally respawn. But can they hold off the push? And it looks like the momentum has completely turned on the side of Crockpot and Squad. Crockpot forced to flash out there, getting a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too fanciful there. They have to be careful because even though they have oh, the shockwave! It's done! Lemon Sap loses their life, but it doesn't matter. CBXL is the only one here, although he can definitely turn this around. King Cross is so low. Brandon needs help needs to leave the area as well, and CBXL, even though the shockwave was massive from Lemon Sap, it didn't matter. At the end of the day, CBXL was able to survive through it, and oh my gosh, this game has completely shifted down from 16, or rather 12k to about 8k. It is still in the favor of Crystal Cave, but it no longer looks as unlosable as it did before.
Yeah, it definitely is swinging back a little bit more. Again, that seesaw is like slightly like getting a little bit more and more and more onto that side of Shogun here, and I really want to see how this gets played out more so, just because of the fact that hey, they were able to do a lot there, and yeah, the set had a really good haymaker. But unfortunately, it's just you can't that mindset going of like, hey, everything's working in our favor. We can just do whatever we want, and then you try doing whatever you want, and you're like, oh, I guess I can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think that's that they're kind of feeling a little bit there.
They can't keep cocky because, like you're saying, it's still a rough game. As the Baron spawns, it's going to be more than likely going over. Although CBXL's ulting, he's ulting, he seals it. CBXL move from long range. Brandon needs help. Didn't even get a chance to smite it. And this could be their game. This game's going back and forth, flip-flopping all over the place. But CBXL and Squad, they're back in control of things. They still have their Nexus turrets. They still have those tier 4s. They are down about 2 inhibs, but they're able to steal that from long range. You know, maybe Tafiki and Excel together can steal the Elder in about a minute's time. And this game is all over the place. There's so much going on, and potentially Crystal Cave may have lost it.
I mean, here's the other thing: a lot of steals this game too. Like you had 2 drakes stolen. Now you had a Baron get stolen. Yeah. Luckily, 2 different people. Not one person doing it over and over and over again. But 2 people. Yeah, it's just really good for Shogun in that case, because they're like, hey, you know what? We're timing everything perfectly. We know what we need to do. To try to make sure, hey, do we win lane or can we put pressure elsewhere? Yeah, this is again just a really good job by them. So hopefully this seesaw keeps going back more in their favor.
Absolutely, but I think the seesaw comes in 13 seconds on this Elder. Maybe it ends here. This could be the final fight. Brandon goes in onto the Fiki. He flashes out. That's going to be the Galio entrance. He's going in. They're looking for Tamari, but look on the backside. It's going to be the dunk into the front line. Crockpot assassinates too, but look at the front line. They're doing so much damage to King Kraus and Lemon Sap. They lost it. It's going to be them that can get the Elder. They can go for the in here. Crockpot, I think he's going for the in. That's going to be the teleport in from Tafiki's dad. He has more than enough HP. They're going to let Excel solo the Elder. And I think Crystal Cave has lost the game. The respawn timers are so long. Excel's running it down here. And I think they have more than enough damage with Crockpot playing the Ziggs here. Full build. I think it's over here, folks. I think Shogun has pulled it out of the hat. A huge comeback. 12,000 here. And it's close to about 1,000 gold. I think that's the game. It has to be. Absolutely massive stuff. Absolutely huge from Shogun 2077 to bring it back. That's the GGs. They win the game.
Oh my god, it's crazy. I mean, just also off of one play, and then one thing led to another and another, and now yeah, it's just a 2-0 going to Shogun. Again, really hard fought by them. Again, great that they kind of kept that mental going, because again, even though you're able to steal those drakes away, you're able to steal that. You had a base that was like almost ready to just fall apart because you had 2 inhibitors down. Nexus turrets were getting cracked, and yeah, it just again, really good job by Shogun to pull it out.
That was huge, dude. That reminded me of watching G2 versus Misfits just a week ago. Theirs was honestly just as crazy. I think they reached up to like 14K difference before Misfits brought that one back, and they lost everything. The Misfits, and Shogun, they were close to losing everything. They lost everything but two tier 4 turrets. Went crazy steals from Tafiki to drag the game out just a little bit longer. Crazy steal from Acel to steal that Baron there. And of course, Crockpot doing absolutely massive work to kill, to start the game, rolling in the opposite direction, killing the Kale there, killing Zyphos, who got it just a little bit too cocky, didn't drop the ultimate, or did drop the ultimate, but didn't dodge the last Ziggs bomb. Absolutely massive game from the side of Shogun 27. Everyone pulled their own weight. It was absolutely crazy to watch.
It was absolutely crazy. I mean, again, maybe Seesaw's not the best word. Roller coaster, I feel like, is probably the better one for this one because yeah,
That's good.
you would go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? We finally reached the end of our ride. It is finally plateauing out, and yeah, it went into Shogun's favor. They played it the way that they needed to in a lot of the fights, and once they started getting more of that bounty gold back into their favor, yeah, it's just unfortunate, but you're gonna see that Crystal Cave just doesn't come out with a win here. But that's again where they could just kind of go back to the drawing board and look at their gameplay this week and see what they need to change up for next week.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was really impressive. I loved what I watched right there. But that Crystal Cave will fall to 2 and 3 in the standings. Shogun 2077 going up to 3 and 2 in the standings. So very nice from both sides. Absolutely beautiful stuff. But with that, we will have to end our broadcast of honestly a pretty banger series from the freshman class. I've been your caster, Arlant, joined here by my wonderful color caster Gigatron.